Hi everyone. Today we are going to be channeling 2025. This is a prediction for the year of 2025 that's coming up. Personally, I am very excited about the next year coming and the year after that and the year after that. I just feel like every time it's a new year, it's the next step closer to the ascension, the completion of the ascension. So I get very excited by these kind of times coming up to the next year and the year after and so on and what's going to happen. There's so much going on. I mean, I can feel it even within me right now. I can feel there's so much going on beneath the surface that we may not even be aware of. 2025, I'm getting something similar. It feels like a kind of a completion of some kind of step of this ascension. It's like a part of this next part of the ascension, but it's like a completed part before the next part is coming in. Now, one of the things I learned is in this ascension, there are steps, there are stages, right? There are stages that we all have to go through. And I've experienced it as well. And it's not one thing, it's not just one stage, it's just like several stages within this one big, chaos evolution that's going on. And 2025 it feels to me like one of the completed parts of this particular part of this ascension. And the next part is the next part of the ascension. And a lot of political issues, corruption that's going to come from that as well for the year after. Okay, 2025, let's go for it. So I have got my guides here as always, and they're going to help me. I've got all my guides. I've asked all of them to come here to guide me for 2025 and what is going to happen. 2025 feels like I feel like a bit of a breezier year, like slightly breezier, slightly lighter in a way. However, there's going to be certain aspects energetically that's going to come up, and it's going to make us see things, make us be aware of things on purpose as it's meant to. And it's going to feel a little like we're going to feel a bit agitated, a bit annoyed, a bit stressed about it, because it's going to feel like a lot will be coming, right? There's still lots more to come, even though it is almost like this coming to a completed part before the next part comes in. And I know the next part that's going to come in is, I'm being told, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting and kind of wild and a big storm. It's like a big storm that's going to come after this. 2025 is almost like, yeah, that's kind of what I feel like. A calm before the storm. That's what it feels like. The calm before the storm. It's going to be interesting. 2025, look, still all this, like I can see all this stuff going on around the world, floods, actual storms, hurricanes, heat waves, all this, everything. Like I can see earthquakes. I can kind of see the glaciers kind of in these places of the world, like, these colder climates of the world, the glaciers kind of breaking. I can see, I'm being shown like that it's breaking apart. They're breaking more and more because of this eruption, of this evolution of Earth that is going on. And it's going to be transcending in different parts of the earth because of it. So whether it's earthquakes, whether it's floods or hurricanes, heat waves, whatever it is, it's all because of this evolution of the earth, which is the ascension of Mother Earth that is going on. Or another way of saying it, as many people say, would be some kind of climate change, but it is actually the ascension of Earth, right? Okay, so that's going to continue, that will continue, and I'm being told for some people, it's going to rattle people a little bit. It's going to maybe scare people a little bit because it's going to continue. Even I'm being kind of told like heat waves, like heat is going to become a thing more next year. We're gonna notice it next year, where the heat almost like like we could be in winter, but actually it's quite hot. It's actually quite hot in winter. It's kind of that awareness we are going to be having more and more as to what's actually going on planet Earth. And in terms of other things, look, I can see, yeah, relationships. I can see abusive relationships. There's something about relationships in 2025. Abusive relationships, realizing, right, 2025 could be a year where you might be realizing that you have been in some kind of abusive relationship, or the relationship between you and someone else is not working and it's not making you feel great. It's not within your heart anymore and you want to break up. That could be 2025, could be a year for that as well. It's like a waking up, another part of this ascension, which is the waking up of who and what you are, and this maybe abusive relationship you've been on, you're just not feeling anymore. You're just waking up to that. There are, and there is, like I'm being told, there is still karma. There is still, for everyone, there's still karma being played out. So whether it's a relationship with friends, whoever, and like people around you, generally people around you, there's still karma that's being played around, that is still being played with the people around you. So it's like part of this phase that we're on, there's still karma that needs to be played. So whether it's a relationship with a partner, friends, or whatever, all kinds of relationships around you, you are still in this part of this ascension where karma is still being played out. So yeah, I'm being told there could be marriages, there could be deaths, there could be anniversaries, all this stuff, right? All this stuff that happens because there's still karma that's being played out and must still be played out, right? As this ascension is continuing, it's going to rise more and more. And 2025, we're going to feel it. We're going to feel again the heat of it, the unknown of it, almost like a feeling of what's going on and what's happening in my life. You might be feeling like you're losing things in your life, like, hold on, that thing was there a minute ago, now it's going, and you could be having this other part of this ego death, which I've said before, because everyone's having some kind of ego death. And that could go on, and that, I'm being told, it could be severe. It could lead to more anxiety because of it, because as we want to hold on to something, as we want to say goodbye to something, or our heart and our soul wants to say goodbye to something, our mind wants to keep holding on to it because it's quite difficult. But the ego death is happening slowly, but it is. This could be a part where you're going to feel it in 2025. There are other things like, mental health. That's the other part, which I guess is a continuation of what I was just saying. Depression is going to be a thing. Anxiety, again, is going to be a thing. You might feel like, interesting. You might feel like you might be losing it. Yes, I've been told this before, where you might feel like you're not quite right in the mind, that you're seeing things that you shouldn't be seeing things. Almost like you might feel like you're having illusions in your life, like you're seeing something, but it can't be there. But you're pretty sure you just saw it. So there might be some mental health. I'm being told, it could lead to mental health issues such as psychosis and so on, because what you believe you might have seen, you can't quite process yourself, because you can't believe that you might have seen something like this. But what's happening is, yes, this is all part of the awakening. Just because you are feeling like you're seeing something doesn't mean that it's not there, and that you should try and work through it or understand it through the mind, because the mind cannot understand these things. It's not a thing. You have to stay within the heart, because as this awakening is happening, one of the things that we might find is that we are going to be seeing things because we are working deeply with our soul. Our soul is alchemizing with our heart in order to transcend ourselves to the next stage of this ascension. And the only way we can do that is by bringing things out from within us that we feel within us into the reality that we are in. And in that process, which I know I'm also going through to some extent, yes, absolutely, because this is part of it, is that you might almost like, I've been shown this before, where you might feel like, one day you're looking out the sky and suddenly you see a spaceship in the sky, and you look again and you think, no, that can't be there, and it's not there anymore, but did I see that? Those kind of moments. But I'm being told that's really important, because this is part of the waking up stage, okay? Because the reality around us can only happen within us first. So 2025, it could mean that it could lead to more psychosis potentially in people. That is not true. And if we put the mind, try and put the mind understanding and the calculations and the diagnosis, and if this is it, then this must be it kind of mode that we've been in, this mind matrix that we've been in, then you may potentially end up with some kind of psychosis, because now you believe that you have gone crazy. But the craziness feeling doesn't have to happen if you stay within your heart, in your truth, within your body. And I know the grounding here is so important. Grounding is extremely important. Staying with your heart, staying with your body here is so important. But that could be the other thing with 2025, just to notice, that can lead to further other mental health issues in the future, right? Staying grounded, really important. 2025 is a mixed year. Nothing to be too concerned about. It's mixed. There are things, as happened before, as we've seen so far, more and more things coming up to the surface. Political changes, yes, political changes going on, and certain things, because of the political changes, are being put forward. Next year, 2025, there are going to be some policies, some rules, regulations, some really tight rules and regulations are going to be put in place, some tighter ones, and they're going to be some that's going to breathe some kind of bring some fresh air as well. People are going to feel a bit confused by these changes. The changes, even though they're being put forward, and some of them again are going to be very tight, and you may not even understand it, and it's going to continue, and it will continue. This tightening of rules, regulations will continue, and some of us, many of us, and more as it goes on, we're not going to understand it. We're not going to really get why we're doing it and what's actually going on. It's going to make us a bit more aware as to what's actually going on right in the future. There will be some, there will be some easier ones coming in next year, 2025, as there's been a bit of a change in the politics that needs to happen, and that's going to help us. It's going to help in terms of the rooted structure that needs to be put in place, because right now, as the changes have happened, there's like a structure that's being put in place, right? A structure, and these political changes are needed because of that, to put these structures, I'm kind of being shown stepping stones into place for when the big stuff comes in, chaos, lots of difficulties in the future. So we need these stepping stones, these structures to be put in place, the foundations to be put in place in order for the chaos to come in, because with these foundations that are now more and more being put in place, the chaos is not going to matter so much. It might happen the way, and it needs to happen the way it needs to. However, because the foundations are put in place, it's not going to matter so much, and we'll be able to get through it much easier, right? And this is what's happening in 2025, right? More and more. Okay, so anything else? It's going to be up and down. It's going to feel like a bit of a roller coaster. It is the closing. It is one of the parts of the closing of this part of this ascension, this change that's going on. And because there's a closing, what it might feel like or be like is a lot of things that the matrix world has to put into place in order for the closure to happen the way they want things to happen. But what's also happening on an underneath surface is that the rest of like we said, the structure is being put in place for the next part. And the next part after 2025, it's going to be interesting. It's a big one. 2026 is going to be a big one. I was told this before. 2026, and we'll cover this next year, is going to be the chaos year. It's going to be the collapse has already started. We know bit by bit the collapse has been happening, but 2026 is going to be the final bit of the collapse. It's going to be one of the final bits of the collapse, and it's going to lead to some catastrophic things, I'm being told. So 2025, I guess what I want to say is treat 2025 as like an easier year if possible compared to the years coming after that, but it will settle eventually, of course. I'm still kind of feeling that there's a lot in this when it comes to relationships, when it comes to abuse, when it comes to speaking out, when it comes to what you know is right within you. There's a lot in this year for following what you know is true, which needs to happen because that's part of the structure as well. But this is on an individual level, on a humanity level, that's also happening on a bigger scale, like we were saying. But because of that as well, there's an ending of this particular structural matrix politics that's being put in place. There's an ending of that needs to happen this year before the next part needs to come in. And that is basically 2025.